نقعد في الحرب وما فيش مدارس، نقعد هيك زهقانين، بدنا مدارس هيك نقرأ فيها ونكتب عشان نصير كبار وشاطرين.
Of course, I mean, conflict in every country impacts the education sector tremendously and makes it very difficult for children to continue, benefiting from, the education services. And there are different level of disruption and different level of complexity to that. The first one is clearly that conflict is a shock to the system of the children. And so beyond the fact that they cannot go into class and they cannot meet with their friends and they cannot, learn anything, they are also in a state of emotional confusion. And so one of the efforts that we are trying to make, and the Gaza case that you were, mentioning is a very specific one, where the situation on the ground doesn't allow us to still resume the formal education sector because a lot needs to be done in terms of clearing the ground. But we are, moving forward with providing children with emotional support that will hopefully help them overcome the impact of the shocks. And then we are providing them with temporary classroom, with temporary schooling, which will allow them to at least resume some semblance of normalcy and being back in a school type of routine. At the moment, a very large numbers are also very difficult, to be quantified with specifically, but a very large number of the children in school age in Gaza have been out of the school system for the 2 years since, the war started. And so there is a lot that needs to be done in terms of catching up. The effort, of course, needs to be to bring them back in school or in whatever school system can be established. We have several countries where the crisis is pretty dramatic. Gaza that you mentioned, but I think about Yemen, for example. I think about the children of Syria. I think about Sudan, which is probably the largest emergency crisis at this stage. These are all countries where children have been out of the school system for a very long period of time. And so one of the things that we have seen is that when they are out of the school system, it is very difficult for them to go back into the school routine. And so this is why one of our efforts is to try to keep them out of school for the shortest possible period, and to make sure that we bring them back into school as quickly as possible. If they lose too long a stretch, then the fear is that they will remain outside of school forever. And that, of course, has an impact on the future for their life. They will not learn the kind of things that will allow them to access to better jobs. They will not have economic opportunities, and so on and so forth. We need to try to do for the children of Sudan what has been done, for example, for the children of Syria and for the children of Somalia. That, we use alternative arrangements, whether it is international organization or civil society organizations, to make sure that we provide a system where they can go back to school. And I think about, for example, my experience with the children of Syria that I have visited in Zaatari camps in Jordan, or the children of Somalia who have been for generations now in Kenya. That is something that, really gives them a good buffer. Now the problem for Syria is how to reabsorb into the system such a large number of students that have been in the school system in the refugee camps and needs to go back to a system where the investments in education have been lagging for a very long time. Over 7,000 schools have been destroyed in Syria. There is need to rebuild the infrastructure. There is a terrible lack of trained teachers. There is need for redoing the curricula. So all this is a big challenge for the international community. The positive thing is that the government seems to have understood that education is really a priority to stabilize the society, and so is ready to invest in the education sector as a priority.